Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, I'm so glad you found this video. This is a space where we talk about all things pregnancy in a way that's real, honest, and actually helpful. Today we're talking about something that causes a lot of anxiety during pregnancy, and that is decreased fetal movement. Or in simpler terms, when you notice your baby isn't moving as much as usual. Maybe you woke up this morning and you couldn't remember the last time you felt a kick. Maybe it's been a few hours and you're starting to panic. Or maybe you're not even pregnant yet, but you want to be prepared. And honestly, good for you for doing your research. Whatever brought you here, I want you to know you are in the right place. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what decreased fetal movement means, what's usually totally normal, what needs attention, and, most importantly, when you should pick up the phone and call your doctor or midwife right away. We're going to cover a lot of ground today, so I'd suggest saving this video. It's one you might want to come back to. And if you find it helpful, please do share it, because this is the kind of information every pregnant mama deserves to have. Okay, let's get into it. Section 1. When do babies start moving? So first, let's lay some groundwork. When do babies actually start moving? And when should you be feeling those movements? Most mamas begin to feel fetal movement somewhere between 16 and 25 weeks. Now that's quite a wide range, and that's totally normal. If this is your first pregnancy, you'll likely feel movement later, closer to that 20 to 25 week mark. If you've been pregnant before, your body already knows what to feel for, so you might notice those first little flutters much earlier, sometimes as early as 16 weeks. In the early days, the movements are super subtle. A lot of women describe it as butterflies in the tummy, or like little bubbles popping, or a gentle flicker. Some mamas even mistake it for gas, and no shame there. It genuinely can feel very similar at first. As the weeks go on and your baby gets bigger and stronger, those movements become much more obvious. You'll start feeling actual kicks, jabs, rolls, and even hiccups, which feel like little rhythmic twitches and are completely harmless and actually quite sweet. Now, here's one of the most important things I want you to take away from this video. So I'm going to say it clearly. Every single baby is different. Your baby has their own personality, their own schedule, and their own movement pattern. Some babies are incredibly active, kicking away all day long. Others are calmer and move in shorter bursts. Neither is better or worse. What matters is getting to know your baby's normal. Healthcare providers actually recommend that from around 28 weeks, you start paying conscious attention to your baby's movement patterns. Not obsessively, but just enough to have a sense of what's typical for your little one. That way, if something changes, you'll notice it. Section 2. Common normal reasons for less movement. Alright, now let's talk about the main reasons why your baby might seem quieter, and why most of the time it's completely okay. Reason number 1, your baby is sleeping. This is by far the most common reason. Did you know that babies in the womb sleep for 17 to 20 hours every single day? That's way more than a newborn even. And just like us, they go through different sleep cycles. During lighter sleep, they move around. But during deep sleep, they can be almost completely still for 20 to 40 minutes at a time. So, if you suddenly can't feel anything for half an hour, there is a very good chance your baby is just in a deep sleep phase. That said, and I'll come back to this, if the quiet period stretches beyond 2 hours, that's when you want to take action and do a kick count, which I'll walk you through in a moment. Reason number 2, you were distracted or busy. This one is so common, and yet so many mamas feel guilty about it. Please don't. When you're running around, going to work, taking care of other kids, doing housework, or just living your life, your mind is elsewhere. You simply don't notice the subtle movements happening in your belly. Baby is moving away in there. You just missed it. It's honestly a bit like background noise. You only really hear the clock ticking when the room goes completely quiet. Same idea. When you finally sit down and tune in, you'll often feel those movements straight away. Reason number 3, baby has changed position. Your baby spends a lot of time shifting around in there, especially earlier in the pregnancy. If they turn so that their back is facing outward, or they're kicking toward your back rather than the front of your belly, those movements can feel muffled or much weaker than usual. The baby is still moving. You're just getting a different angle on it. Similarly, the position of your placenta matters too. If you have an anterior placenta, which means the placenta is at the front of your uterus, it acts like a cushion between baby and your belly and can dampen the sensation of movement significantly. Your doctor will usually tell you if this is your situation, so do check your notes if you're unsure. Reason number 4, baby is running out of space. In the third trimester, as your baby grows and fills up more of your uterus, the nature of movements naturally changes. Those big dramatic kung fu kicks from the second trimester might become more of a slow roll, a stretch, or a gentle squirm. There's just less room for the big gymnastic moves. Now, and this is really important, while the style of movement can change, the frequency should not dramatically decrease. You should still be feeling regular movement every single day, right up until you go into labor. If the number of movements you feel drops significantly, that's a sign to pay closer attention, regardless of what trimester you're in. Reason number 5, time of day matters. Most babies have a pattern to when they're most active. A lot of babies are lively in the evenings, when their mama has finally stopped moving and lain down. Others are morning babies. Some go wild after meals. Over time, you'll start to notice your baby's active windows. And if you're checking during a quiet time, you might just need to wait for their active hours now. Section 3, the kick count method. Okay, so you've noticed baby is quiet and you want to check in. This is where the kick count comes in. And it is honestly one of the most useful tools you have during pregnancy. Simple, free, and you can do it anywhere. Kick counting is recommended from 28 weeks onwards. Here's exactly how to do it. Step 1. Choose a time when your baby is usually active. After a meal is often great because digestion can stimulate baby. A cold glass of water can also help. Some people even gently poke their belly or shine a torch on it. Babies sometimes respond to light stimulation. Step 2. Find somewhere comfortable and lie down on your left side. Lying on your left side actually improves blood flow to the placenta, which can make movements easier to feel. You don't have to lie down if it's not possible. Sitting quietly works too, but lying down tends to give the best results. Step 3. Start counting. Every movement counts. A kick, a roll, a jab, a swish, a hiccup. If you feel a flurry of movements all at once, that counts as one. Just count distinct movement episodes. Step 4. Keep going until you reach 10 movements. Goal: 10 movements in 2 hours. Most babies will hit 10 longs before 2 hours is up, often within 30 minutes. Once you've reached 10, you're done. That's a great sign. Step 5. If 2 hours pass and you haven't felt 10 movements, call your midwife or doctor. Don't wait. Don't try again later. Don't eat something sweet and count again. Just call. Now, I also want to say something that I feel really strongly about. Even if you do your kick count and you get to 10 movements, if something still feels off to you, if your gut is saying, this isn't right, trust that feeling. Call your healthcare provider anyway. You know your baby. Your instincts are valid data. There are apps available that make kick counting really easy too. You can literally just tap your screen every time you feel a movement, and it tracks everything for you. Count the Kicks is a popular one, and there are several others. Worth looking into if you like having a log to look back on. Section 4. When it's more serious. Now I want to talk about the part that nobody really wants to hear, but that I think is so important for you to understand. And I promise I'm not saying this to frighten you. I'm saying it because knowing this information could genuinely make a difference. In some cases, a significant decrease in fetal movement can be a warning sign that something needs attention. When a baby is under stress, perhaps due to reduced blood flow from the placenta or not receiving adequate oxygen, they instinctively conserve energy. They slow down. It's actually a survival mechanism, and one of the ways they communicate that to us is through reduced movement. Some conditions that can cause this include placental insufficiency, where the placenta isn't delivering enough nutrients or oxygen to the baby, and intrauterine growth restriction, also called IUGR, where baby isn't growing as they should. There's also a rare but serious condition called placental abruption, where the placenta partially separates from the uterus wall. Now, please hear me when I say this. These conditions are not common. The vast majority of the time, decreased movement has a completely innocent explanation. But because these conditions exist, and because catching them early makes such a big difference to outcomes, healthcare providers take any report of reduced movement very seriously. And so should you. Studies have actually shown that when mothers are educated about fetal movement and encouraged to report changes, outcomes improve. Meaning, your awareness and your willingness to speak up genuinely matters. When you go in and report decreased movement, your midwife or doctor will typically do a non-stress test, where they monitor baby's heartbeat and movements electronically. They may also do an ultrasound to check the amniotic fluid levels, the placenta, and baby's overall well-being. These checks are quick, non-invasive, and give a really clear picture of how baby is doing. And most of the time, everything is absolutely fine, and you go home relieved. But occasionally, those checks pick up something that needs to be acted on, and in those cases, you are so glad you went in. Section 5. Myths and Facts. All right, myth-busting time. Because there is so much misinformation floating around about fetal movement, and some of it is genuinely harmful. Let's clear it up. Myth number 1. Babies move less towards the end of pregnancy. False. This is probably the most widespread myth, and honestly, it worries me how often it gets repeated. Yes, the type of movement changes in the 3rd trimester. There's less room, so you get more rolls and stretches rather than big kicks. But the frequency of movement should remain consistent right through to the day you give birth. A significant, sudden drop in movement at any point in pregnancy, including late pregnancy, is always worth reporting. Please do not dismiss it just because someone told you, babies slow down near the end. They don't. Myth number 2, eating sugar or something sweet will make the baby move. This one is so persistent and so potentially dangerous. The idea is that the sugar rush somehow stimulates baby. But here's the truth. There is no solid scientific evidence that eating sugar causes increased fetal movement. What eating or drinking something might do is help you relax. Because lying still and focusing after a snack gives you a better chance of noticing movements that were already there. That's it. It doesn't fix a problem. It might just help you tune in better. The danger with this myth is that women spend an hour eating biscuits and hoping instead of calling their midwife. Please don't do that. If you're worried, call first. Myth number 3, going to the hospital for reduced movement is overreacting. Absolutely not. You will never, ever be made to feel silly for going in. Any midwife or obstetrician worth their salt will tell you the same thing. They would far rather see you 10 times for nothing than miss the one time it matters. You are not wasting anyone's time. You are advocating for your baby. That is your job, and you are doing it perfectly. Myth number 4, if the baby is moving at all, you have nothing to worry about. Not quite. It's not just about whether baby is moving. It's about whether the pattern is consistent with what's normal for your baby. A baby that usually moves 30 times a day and today has only moved 5 times is a concern, even if those 5 movements happened. Trust your knowledge of your own baby's patterns. Section 6. Tips to stay aware every day. Before we wrap up, I want to give you some really practical, everyday tips for staying connected to your baby's movements throughout your pregnancy. Tip 1. Start paying attention at 28 weeks. You don't need a formal chart or an app, just begin to notice. When does your baby tend to move most? Morning, evening, after meals? Build a mental picture of their routine. Tip 2. Create a daily check-in habit. At the same time each day, maybe when you're lying in bed in the morning or relaxing after dinner, take 5 quiet minutes and just tune in to your baby. Over time, this becomes second nature. Tip 3. Use a kick-counting app. If you're the kind of person who likes tracking things, these apps are brilliant. They let you log movements, spot patterns over time, and give you something concrete to show your midwife if you're concerned. Tip 4. Communicate openly with your healthcare provider. At every prenatal appointment, mention how baby's movements have been. Don't wait until something feels wrong to bring it up. Make it part of the conversation from the start. Tip 5. Trust yourself. You are with this baby 24 hours a day. You know them in a way no one else does, not even your doctor. If something feels different, if your gut says something is off, that matters. Act on it. So, let's bring it all together. Decreased fetal movement is something every pregnant mama will think about at some point, and it's okay to feel worried. But now, you know most of the time there's a perfectly normal explanation. Sleep cycles, being distracted, baby's position, growing out of space, all totally common. You have the kick count method as your go-to tool. 10 movements in 2 hours are your reassuring number. And if something feels off, regardless of what the count says, you call your healthcare provider. Full stop. No second guessing. No waiting to see. Because here's what I want you to leave this video knowing. Paying attention to your baby's movements is one of the most loving things you can do during pregnancy. You are not paranoid. You are not dramatic. You are a thoughtful, attentive parent. And that starts right now, before baby is even born. If this video helped you, please give it a like. It genuinely helps other pregnant mamas find this information when they need it most. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we post new pregnancy tips every week. And drop a comment below. I'd love to know, have you ever experienced reduced fetal movement? How did you handle it? Your stories might help someone else watching. Take care of yourself and that beautiful baby. I'll see you in the next one.